We got a lot to do, so we can.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Stone.
All right, well, welcome everybody. This is week 7. You are almost one half of the way through of the course, and you probably feel like it by now with all that you've had to go through, but you have done a great job in turning in materials. Really a lot of hard work, and this is going to pay off for you as you continue along this journey in your MELS program. I can tell you from teaching 605, you reference quite often what you did in 601 and 603, so you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you get through the semester. But we're halfway through it now, and one more big evidence that needs to be completed, but we will start working with you on that tonight, I believe. And if not tonight, next week.
Next week.
Now, I do want to welcome each and every one of you to our session tonight. We're thankful that you joined us. We're thankful that you are part of Gardner Webb. Dr. Lamb, I don't know if everyone who's with us tonight knows the good news, and since you are, can you take a minute to share the study from the U.S. colleges or universities?
Sure.
I don't think we can go anywhere without at least mentioning that, because we want you to know what kind of program that you're in here at Gardner Webb. And Dr. Lamb is, and all the instructors have been such a big part of this.
Yeah.
Let me cue it up here. Take me 1 second.
I know I should have given you enough warning in advance.
Well, I have it.
Well, while he's doing that, again, we want to welcome everyone. Dr. Lamb, there's a chat here that they're offering to give some money to put into the challenge. So we don't know exactly how much it's going to take for you to come as Santa Claus, but wait, we're collecting. So whatever it takes. I do want to remind you that, and Dr. Lamb will probably speak to this a little bit later on about, well, I'm sure he will talk about the program maybe a little bit later on in the session, or maybe later on in your program here. But I'm trying to talk. If I knew a joke, I would tell you one. But I do want you to see this. And I think it's important enough that we share with you. Did you find it, Dale? Dr.
Yeah,
Lamb?
I'm ready. I just wanted to point out.
You go right ahead.
There, we had other good news today. Dr. John Shepard, who's one of our 601 instructors, has been named Henderson County's Principal of the Year.
Hey, John.
Congratulations to Dr. John Shepard for that.
Shoot, at 5:15, I was just getting out of the vet's office. My appointment was at 4 o'clock.
And so this is what Dr. Stone was alluding to. There are.
Can you mute everybody?
I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
I feel bad.
All right. So each year, universities.com ranks the 15 MELS programs in North Carolina. There are 15 of us that offer leadership and administration degrees and certification in North Carolina. There's 15 of us this year, based on student survey data, performance data in the job from DPI, cohort graduation rates, and some other indicators. They put out the list of 15 this year, and as you can see, Gardner Webb is number 1. We are the top-rated MELS program in the state of North Carolina. We beat Chapel Hill after all these years, my alma mater. And so I guess I don't really have any mixed feelings. I wanted to win. So congratulations to you. It's because of our students and your performance in completing on time, getting jobs, and doing well in those jobs. Those are the 3 biggest factors. Pass rate on the praxis for the South Carolina people, that factors in as well. And so congratulations to you all. As Dr. Stone said, thank you for choosing Gardner Webb. We're glad to have you. Just a bit of good news this week, and we're thrilled and excited. So I guess you'll see this on some university materials before long. They're going to start some kind of an ad campaign and feature this. So when you see it, you got a little bragging rights, especially if you have another intern in your building or the people who went to in your building who were in other programs. You have a little bragging right this year. So thank you for all you do, and thank to all the instructors. The the 26 of us who are involved in this on a daily basis. We thank all of you, and I thank all of the 26 of us. We have 31 altogether, but we have 26 teaching and coaching at any one time. And so we have 31 folks involved, and it's a labor of love. We enjoy it. So thank you for reminding me, Dr. Stone.
You're welcome. So at 3, everybody say, go running Bulldogs. 1, 2, 3. Go running Bulldogs. All right. Thank you. Dr. Stedman, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Dr. Lamb, if you'll take it back to week 7, please. And as Dr. Stone has already said, next week, actually, the end of next week, you will be exactly halfway through the semester. So you've come a long ways in the last 6 weeks, going on 7 weeks. And we are at the point this week of completing evidence 1 of the 6 evidences that you will complete in this program, the APSL. And as Dr. Stone has said also, for the most part, the majority of work has come in. Has been, overall, it has been very good work, and very pleased with, I'm very pleased with the work ethics of most of the students. Others are coming along that were behind, but you're catching up. And so, you know, we're going to continue to work with you, but you need to realize that before we start the APTEL, we're going to introduce it next week, but before you actually have to begin the official work on it, you need to get the APSL completed. So this week and next week is going to be vitally important for everybody to make sure that you have completed the APSL process. We're going to talk to you tonight actually about what it is you have to do at this point. Dr. Lamb, if you'll scroll down week 7 to that document that I created today, and open it up, the final submission process. I don't want to go through the final submission yet. Scroll down to the bottom of that. We'll come back to that part. At this point, I have included, this document is in your Blackboard shell under week 7, so you can see it yourself. At this point, as of today, if you've done everything that you needed to do on time and it's in black, this is what it should look like. A perfect score would be, you would have 1,901 points, a perfect score. And the following task should have been submitted and completed. Grading should have been completed by either Dr. Stone or me in Blackboard at this time, and that would be number 1, task 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, peer and or instructor review. Number 2, task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, final for evaluation. Now, some of you, there's a few of you that are still behind a little bit in there. Most of you are exactly where you need to be. A few of you need to submit the task 5 for final evaluation, and I'm sure that's coming in this week. Number 3, everybody should have 2 peer reviews each for task 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your Zoom video for APSL task 1 and 2 should have been submitted already. And then the 1 point for your contact information, that's where the point comes in there. You need to do a self-analysis. You need to go in there and audit yourself to see, is there anything that you are missing? And if it is, you need to get it into Dr. Stone and to me immediately. With that, Dr. Lamb, if you would just do a reminder, week 8, I'm going to come back to that in just a few minutes. Week 8, your case studies, your case study number 1 is due, and Dr. Lamb is going to just do some reminders concerning your case study.
All right, on your case studies, I've got some documents here. Let me pull those back up for you. Remind you of your case study directions. Again, this is on your main menu. Read the case study and write 1 paragraph response for each of the questions. Your Zoom master of your group sends out the link and records the case study Zoom session. During that Zoom session, each member shares their written response with the group, then engages in a scholarly discussion of the responses led by the Zoom master. group consensus is desirable but not required for the scholarly discussion. Now, we always get questions and they say, what is a scholarly discussion? Well, you are to compare what the principal did to what you did to complete the APSEL. This case study is basically a kind of a final exam on the APSEL. You did your research. You formed a PLC. You did your research. You held your meeting. You did a literature review on your most pressing need. You did an annotated bibliography on some of the solutions. You wrote an action plan. That's the system that you used to close the gap on test scores. This case study is about a new principal that inherits a school that has a problem with test scores. And you compare the process that you have learned during the APSEL to the process that he employed in his school. That's the scholarly discussion. That's the basis of what you are adjudicating what he did versus what you know to be the proper sequence of events that should take place in order to address deficiencies in test scores. That's the scholarly discussion. Did he follow the protocol that you have followed? What could he have done differently? Did he do the right things? Did he do the wrong things? What could he have done differently? Based on what you have learned through the process of the APSEL, compare his actions to your actions, and that is the basis of the scholarly discussion.
Dr. Lamb, again, remember, we don't care what you think. You can have an opinion, but remember, your opinion must be based on what does the research say. It must be evidence-based, and what have you learned based on the research? We don't want just your opinion on something.
We want you to compare it to the scholarly activity that we have taught you, or you have been taught by these folks this semester. Then, once that's over with, you will write a one-page, two-part reflective summary of both the case study and the case study Zoom session. The case study part of the reflective summary includes an overview of the relevant points of the case, what was done well, what wasn't done well, what you would have done differently. And then the second half is your takeaway from the scholarly discussion. Did somebody point something out that you missed? Did you all get it right? What was your takeaway from that collaborative session that you did on Zoom? So the first half of the written reflection, you hit the major points of the case. Second, you reflect on the actual group discussion. But that's what a case study is. And that will be due next week. And so you need to have, you should, but this time you should have or should be to the point of scheduling your Zoom session so that you can discuss this case. Make sure you read your case first and have a paragraph or some notes when you meet together with your group. All right.
Okay.
So that's the case study.
And Dr. Lamb, while you're there, can you show them where they need to go and submit this information once?
Oh, sure.
Once
Just click on case study materials. And there's the directions I just read you. Here's the case study itself. And this is what it looks like. Case study 1, the principal as instructional leader. And here's what the case study looks like. And here are the questions that you're to answer. Here are the questions there at the end that you're to answer about the case study, and have that ready when you meet as a group. So that's what it looks like. All of that can be accessed right here. Here's the directions. Here's the case study. Here's where you put your written reflection and your Zoom link. You can upload them both right here. And then here's the second case study and also the reflection for it that we'll do once we cover the APTEL later this semester.
Dr. Lamb,
So
while you're talking about the case study, answer Amber's question when you get a chance to. It's about the case study.
Sure. Could the first paragraph of the case study be part of the reflective summary? Yes, it can be. That would be fine. All right. So that's where it goes. Trying to work smarter. That's a good idea. All right. So that's the case study. Anybody have any, again, it's under case study materials. Anybody have any questions on what your responsibility? If you read the directions, it's pretty simple. It tells you exactly what you're to do. All right.
And that is actually will be the last assignment that you officially turn in before we start completing assignments for the APTEL. And it's thereby, you know, it's the last assignment on purpose because you will have completed the APSL and hopefully will have submitted it. And so it, you know, you've got everything that you need in order to complete that scholarly discussion that Dr. Lamb was talking about. Dr. Lamb, if you would go back to the document that you opened up earlier for me, please, for week 7. Okay. Now we're going to talk to you for the next few minutes about the final submission process for the APSL. This is under week 7. Took the time today so that everything we're talking about, you can actually listen to it and you can go back and you can view this document, look at this document as you're completing the process if you have any questions. But you're at the point where you combine task 1 through 5 into one document, and that means that you will have one title page, that page that says my name here, your name here, one school profile, a comprehensive reference section, all the references from task 1 through 5, whatever you would have, you put them into one comprehensive reference section at the end of your document, and then a comprehensive appendices at the end. And please remember that the reference section should precede your appendices. Once you do that in Blackboard, go to the APSL task for review. Now, I know what you're going to say. Some of you are going to say, well, Dr. Stedman, I've already turned something under task 5 already for review. It doesn't matter. You can do multiple submissions there. And we're asking you, once you get to get your task ready, you go to task 5, APSL task 5 for instructor review. Even though you may have used it before, it's okay. Click on it. And then you just create a new thread and you will submit your final document for Dr. Stone or me to review with everything put together. And at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to either tell you that you know, we're going to send it back and say you need to fix something, and we'll tell you what you need to fix, or we're going to tell you that it's ready to submit to the Turnitin process. And again, the Turnitin process is simply a way, I'm trying to find, I lost my notes. The Turnitin process promotes academic integrity and it deters plagiarism. So this lets us know if there are any issues concerning the work that you've done. And you won't get a report back on this. Dr. Stone and I can view a report on our end if there are any issues, and we'll let you know. Dr. Lamb, you want to say any more about the Turnitin process before we show them where they actually go?
I'll do that. So once you have your final evidence narrative, that's everything that Dr. Stedman just outlined, all 5 tasks, school profile, the cover page, the references, and the appendices. You upload them for one final review, and you submit that in Blackboard. And then once you have submitted it there, the very same document that you just submitted there for the final review, once Dr. Stone and Dr. Stedman have said, looks good, everything's right, but make sure that they respond back to you. Once that is done, that document is now finalized. And at that point, excuse me, you will come, and only then, once they respond back to you, you will come over here to APSL Turnitin check. You can only do this one time. You can't submit it and then say, oops, they told me I had to fix something. This is a one-shot deal. You upload it in discussion board under AppSell task for review. AppSell final evidence narrative has all 5, has everything in it. You submit it there. They'll get back to you immediately and say, yeah, it's ready to go, or no, you got this out of order. When they say submit to turn it in, you come to turn it in. You submit that same document right here where it says view complete. You upload it here. It's the same thing. It's the same document that you put in there, and you fill out your form here, and then you go to the computer and upload it the same way. But the important part to remember here is this is a one-shot deal. Don't put it in there when you upload it in discussion board for final instructor review. Don't go then and upload it then. Wait till they tell you it's ready, because there might be something out of order, and you can't resubmit it again. This is a one-shot deal. You won't get a report, but they will send you a notice back. It'll be under my grades. It'll be where everything else you see has been graded. It will tell you at that time to submit to TaskStream. So the process is you put it in task for review. Once they tell you to go to turn it in, you put it in, turn it in. They'll then respond if it meets if the percentage is not too high, or if there's not a problem with your references. They'll tell you then to submit to TaskStream, and then you leave Blackboard and go to TaskStream and you upload it there. And so this is the way you do that. So you go to TaskStream. You click on your DRF program. It'll say Fall 19 add-on. That's the only one you've got. I'm in author view right now. I'm on the work tab. Make sure that you're on the work tab. If we get emails and calls all the time, I can't upload my document. Well, are you on the work tab? And I hear that pregnant pause. Make sure you're on the work tab. Then come over here to AppSell over on the left. Click on AppSell. Click on attachments. Upload from computer. Add files. Make sure you've got your final evidence narrative labeled and ready to go. Make sure you pick the right one. Click on it, open. Upload and close. It will be there. Now, save and return. Submit work. And it'll give you a notice that your work has been submitted. That is the process for uploading to TaskStream. Somewhere between 12 and 36 hours, you will get your grade back. And to get your grade, you go to Scores Results. It's a good idea to go there when you upload and submit it, and it will say submitted. If it still says submit work, it didn't go through. It should say submitted, work submitted. And then when you get the score, it will be right there instead of, it will have the result right here in this column. It will have the score that you got. You've got to score at least a 3.0 out of 4 for it to be passing. Now, if it doesn't, the first time you put it in and the state graders go in and look at it, if it doesn't get a 3, they'll send it back for revision the first time. They won't just give you a final score and say, too bad you didn't make it. They'll send it back for revision. Your coach will work with you because they'll be notified as well. They'll work with you, and the grader will tell you exactly what you have to do to fix it. 9 times out of 10 or 95 times out of 100, the problem is you uploaded the wrong document and it was something was missing. Rarely will one get kicked back because it wasn't good enough after you've gone through everything that we put you through this semester. But there, that could happen. There's always that one chance in 100 that it's sent back for some major revision, but usually not. Usually it's you simply put the wrong one that didn't have all the tasks in it. Or you put the one that didn't have your references, or you put the wrong one in. But once you upload it and go back and hit submit, it'll say work submitted right here. And then when the score comes in, the score will be right here. This is on your scores results page. You'll get notified by email if it's sent back for revision, and you come to the comment section and it will tell you what's wrong. It will tell you what happened. So
And
that's the process for uploading. But remember, it goes in Blackboard for task for review first. Your instructor says it's good to go to turn it in, goes to turn it in. Your instructor says good to go to task stream, goes to task stream. If it needs revision, you'll get an email. If not, you check scores results. Between 12 and 36 hours, your final score from the state grader will be there. If it's, we're hoping for all fours. That's what we've trained you for, or they've trained you for. I'm just along for the ride here. But hopefully we'll see some fours, some 3.5 fours. That's what we're expecting out of you. But if you get a 3, don't come back and say, well, can I resubmit and try to do better? No, it's a one-shot deal. If it needs to be better, make it better now. If you make a 3, they will not grade it again. It passed, they're done with it. They only get paid to grade it one time. So if you want the highest score you can get, turn in the best paper you got. Pretty simple. All right, so that's how you go about the process, the final process of the final evidence narrative. And that's what we call it, the APSEL final evidence narrative. Reviewed by instructor, turn it in, checked by instructor, submitted, graded by state evaluator, you get the score. That's the process.
Dr. Lamb, John Brown asked, he said, should we have all of the figures in the appendices listed somewhere in the narrative?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. You can't just
and-
file a bunch of things in your,
Wow.
the appendices is for, yes, there should be a figure that corresponds in your narrative.
But that was it. And then Keith asked, he says, who is the state grader? Someone from North Carolina Department of Public Instruction or from GWU? I'll let Dr. Lamb respond to that concerning.
Both.
It's from both.
We hire independent graders at Gardner Webb that are trained by DPI. We pay them, but they grade for DPI. And then 30% of these are pulled at random by staffers and double checked by DPI. But the folks that we got grade for DPI. Although we employ and pay them, they are anonymous. They're trained by their rubric. And so even though we pay them, they work in effect for DPI.
Okay. Keith, I know that was private, but everybody needed to hear that. So are we to attach our PowerPoints, photos, videos used throughout the APSEL when we upload it in the APSEL, turn it in? All of those things that you used in each of the task, they will be a part of your final appendices.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we've had people in the past where it was too much, and they had to go back and they had to decide, get rid of some things that were maybe non-essentials. They had too much stuff there, but I don't think any of the students that I've had, I don't think that'll be the problem.
No, usually, as long as you don't exceed 60 megabytes, you're good. And you'd have to have a lot of stuff in there. Usually what causes you to exceed your limit is a bunch of pictures. So, pictures use a lot of megabytes. So limit the use of pictures. As long as it's documents, you're fine. The only thing is, you're only supposed to have one picture of your PLC. So don't have, if you're one of those folks who lives by their camera and takes 1,000 pictures, just edit yourself. Don't have more than 1 or 2 pictures and you'll be fine.
Sean asked the question, does the score from task stream factor into the grade we receive in the course? Absolutely. Again, you cannot make below a 3.0. You have to make at least a 3.0. And as long as, that is proficient. 4.0 would be accomplished. But as long as you make the 3.0, and we want you to strive for better than 3.0. We don't know what, we're hoping that the work that we're doing is going to make it better than 3.0, but you have to have at least a 3.0. And that will, you can't move forward without a 3.0.
So as long as you've got a 3.0, whatever points you get in the course will be fine.
Yes.
So no, we don't. If you make a 3, we don't take your points away.
No.
That's a good question, though. No, we don't take your points away. As long as you make a 3, everything's good. We want you to make more than a 3, but there's no shame in making a 3.
And I will say, as long as I have been working in the program, work has gone back, but every time it's been sent back, we've been able to get it to the place where we've never had a student not to make below 3.0 when the work was sent back and corrected like it was supposed to be corrected. I can't remember, Dr. Lamb.
No. Now we've had work that we wouldn't let go to task stream.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, we wouldn't even let it go that far.
I mean, there's no sense in putting it in task stream if you know it's not going to grade out at least proficient.
Right.
And so that's why that one last look for the instructor. Now, if the instructor says, nope, this is not ready, they'll tell you and they'll send you to your coach to work on it. Now, we've had people whose work never made it to the state grading because they weren't willing to fix it, or, they sat and complained, I don't know what to do. Well, we told you what to do. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, then it won't,
But we're not going to tell you.
Not going to knowingly send.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you it's ready until it's ready.
That's exactly right. Now, you understand that we're a subcontractor to DPI. They're the people that give you your license. If we send a bunch of, as I said, they check 30% of the work. And it, from our graders that were trained by their standards. So, but they even do a fidelity check beyond that to make sure that we're not putting in inferior work. And so they won't punish you, they'll punish us if there's inferior work put in there.
Okay.
Part of that number 1 rating is that all of our work that goes in has been graded above state average in terms of the work that goes in. That's part of that rating is how good are the portfolios that go in and how well you do once you're in your job. All those things are outcome variables. That's not tied to effort, that's tied to outcomes. And so our portfolios are very good. That's one of the reasons why we've moved up in the ratings is we don't put junk in or allow students to put junk into task stream. That's for your license. It's got to be good enough. And they tell us how good it's got to be. I mean, it's not a mystery here. We're not out here stabbing in the dark, hoping that what we do, and we obviously know what it's going to take to get there.
Right. Dr. Lamb, there's one more thing that once you get your score in task stream, and you know what that final score is, there's one more thing that you've got to do back in your Blackboard shell. And Dr. Lamb's going to take it back there, and he's going to show you that last step that you've got to do.
All right. So when you get that, that score, you're going to screenshot it, and I'll have to let me change views here, and pull one up. All right, so it's going to look a little different than this, but okay, so we don't have any. So when we go in to get it, this is the Fall 19 add-on. This is your group. We'll be able to see what you do. We'll pull them up and look at them. But when you get it back, it's going to have a score on it. Let me do a quick and dirty on that. Pull one that's got one. Now, again, it's going to look a little different than this, but it's the process that's important. But you're going to have something that has your score on it for the app cell. Let me go to one right quick. You can't load this stuff ahead of time. TaskStream will time you out.
I talked to her today, Dr. Lamb. She's
So it's going to look like this. This will be what you will see. You will screenshot this. Let's see. All right, I just screenshotted that. And the way I screenshotted it is I press simultaneously the Windows icon button on the lower left of my keypad along with the print screen button, and it took a picture. And it put that picture in my file manager. I'll go find that file manager now. Let's see, under pictures, screenshots, and there it is. And so there's that picture I just took. And then I will take and upload that picture. So I'm going to copy that and then get out and get back here. I'm going to take that and then I'm going to upload that picture back in Blackboard. I'm going to go back to Blackboard and I'm going to go to AppSell Final Screenshot. And I'm going to upload that picture there, browse my computer, and I'm going to go to this PC, pictures, open, screenshots, open, screenshot, open, and it's going to upload that screenshot for me, and then I'm going to submit it, and there it is. And then it will be submitted. It will submit it, and then we'll be able to grade it.
And that's when Dr. Stone and I would just say, congratulations, you have completed Evidence 1, the AppSell.
And it will be in the grade center, and they'll grade it and give you another 100 points for it. So that's what you do. Once you get your grade or your score, you screenshot it, you upload your screenshot of your final score from TaskStream, and you'll get another 100 points for that one. So that will conclude the process.
Okay. And you will have completed the AppSell at that point. Okay, Dr. Lamb, that's it on that. You have anything else you need to say, Dr. Lamb, about the process?
No, let's catch this question here. How many points would you have up to this point? Well, let's look at Dr. Stedman's.
If they had a perfect score, it would be 1,901 points. A perfect score. That
There
means
you go.
you would have gotten 100 on everything, and you would have gotten the 1 point for the contact information. There's 19 tasks that you could have gotten up to 100 points with, and then the 1 point for the contact information. That doesn't mean that you will have 1,901 points. That means that that would be a perfect score.
Yep, you'd have that many. So that's 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, and then the 3 for this. There's 100 points each for submitting it to final discussion board, for final review, 100 for turn it in, and then 100 for your final screenshot. That's 16 plus 3 is 19 plus 1 point for your contact. That's right. That's 1,900 points.
Dr. Lamb, though, I will tell them, if you do what Dr. Stone and I ask you to do, and you go back, there is absolutely no reason for a student not to make an A in the class if you do everything that you're supposed to do. Absolutely no reason. Now, we can't take work that should have been submitted 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks later, and we can't, it's not fair to give you full credit for something that somebody else did on time unless there has been circumstances that you have discussed with us and we've given you permission to turn in late. It's not okay just to turn in work anytime you want to.
So at the end of that process, your maximum points would be 1901. Now, if you got less than 100 on something, or if you hadn't turned something in, that would be your check to go back and make sure that you had everything turned in. You know how to do that. Go to My Grades, and you can see what you've got and what you haven't turned in.
Actually, Dr. Lamb, it's going to be 2001 because we're going to add 100 for the screenshot.
Okay. All right. So it'd be 2001. All right.
And then once they get their, they do their case study, if they get 100 points on that, they would have 2,101 points before going into the APTEL.
Yep. And so if we go here, and there you go. So in effect, you make about 4,200 points. If you make 3750, you're golden. So that gives you a little bit of leeway. But you know, as Dr. Stedman said, you get 2,000 up through the APSEL, and then with the case studies and the others, it comes out to about 4,400 is the total that you can make. And you make 3750, that's an A. That's 92% or 90%. So you don't have to be perfect. We want you to be, but you don't have to be. You get a little leeway there on your points. So as he said, there's no reason that you shouldn't all make A's. All right.
Okay, we're ready to turn it over to Dr.
right.
Stone.
All right, I guess Dale, thank you very much. So, Dr. Lamb, are you still sharing?
I am.
Okay. Do you want to keep on, or you want to?
I can turn the share over to you if you've got it loaded and ready to go.
I do. I have it loaded.
All right. I will go to participants. I'm going to make you the host.
Thank you much. All right. So,
My share.
change gears here really quickly on it, but I do want to remind you that everything that about the grading, that we're still watching that and we're looking at it. As soon as you get it to us, I promise you we're going to grade it and get it back to you. So switching gears a little bit, you've just gotten that call from the superintendent's office telling you that they are going to now, everything you've worked for in your MELS program is finally paid off. You've gotten that call. You're going to be the interview for the assistant principal, and then you're going to, or the principalship. And then you get that call from the superintendent's office telling you, congratulations, you've gotten the job. Now, your first question should be, or it will be, what do I do? There are a lot of things you need to do, but one of the things that you cannot overlook doing, and what we really want to make sure you get in the MELS program, is that one of your big responsibilities, along with the many, many others that you have, will be how that you market your school. Because the day and age that we live in now, with the competition of charters and vouchers and homeschoolers and private schoolers, no longer do we have a monopoly over the education. And so people can now pick and choose. So yes, you are going to become the major marketer for your school. So welcome to the job. We have it cut out for you. I want to talk briefly about how you can go about marketing your school, because that is going to be your responsibility. I've gathered information from many different sources, but basically, why is marketing? It is the ability to get out there and sell what you do best. To sell what you do at your school, to sell everything that you do to the parents in the community. But it is also important that you just don't sell your school or market your school to your parents. You have to realize that There are others in the community that you are also marketing to or making sure that they have a good impression of your school. People will relate with you. People will give you money. People will volunteer. People will be proud of your school system or your school if you market it well and you have a good story to sell. So marketing is very important. It is not just for the business world anymore. In the competitive world that we live in now, it is critical that we market to attract students. You cannot assume that they're going to come to you. You cannot assume that when parents move into your community that they're going to come through your door. You have to market to them and get to them, and it's much more competitive now than it has ever been. Most of the PR for your school system is going to be handled through your district, and we'll talk about that as we go through this. But why is it important to market your school? And the bottom line is because numbers and enrollment are critical. If you are serving in a school that the enrollment is declining, you have to make decisions such as, what teachers am I going to let go? What programs am I going to have to lose? So it is important that you get out there and become a spokesman and you market your school, because if you don't have the kids, then you are losing programs and losing staff. The greater number of kids that you have or students that you have, the more chances your school is going to be able to offer more things. And if you continue to lose enrollment, you'll probably, at some point, the district is going to pull the school and close it, consolidate it, because we can't, and districts don't have the money to run small schools like they used to. So it is your responsibility. It's not everything, but it's certainly worth getting out there and making an effort of it. You can't ignore your school's image because, again, students aren't just going to walk through your door. They have so many more choices now. Enrollment is vital. There's tons of research that shows that your image, the school's image, and how people feel about that particular school and achievement are related. And a positive image also helps you when you start recruiting your staff and hanging on to your staff. That image of your school and how you market your school is important. But I also told you that it's not just important that you market to the parents of kids in your building or in your school, but it is also you market to the community, because the community is oftentimes going to be, as communities get older and older, you're going to have more and more people who have no connection with your school. Maybe they have a grandchild, but maybe they don't have any more children in your school. You don't want to lose these people. You want these people to be still just as involved and just as energetic about your school. They're going to be the ones who vote on the bond issues about building additions to your classrooms, additions to your building. They're going to be the ones who support tax initiatives to increase what we pay teachers and recruit teachers. They're going to be your business volunteers. They're going to be the people who really come through your doors and help you when you need it. So promoting your image is very important. So some essential elements is, of course, in a marketing plan or strategy is to make sure your vision is out there, that people know what your vision and mission is, that your mission statement's there, that anything that's unique about your school, if you're a magnet, if you have something that's particularly unique, a technology, STEM focus, that needs to be a part of your key message. Because again, you're trying to compete with many others who are competing for the very same shrinking number of students who can walk through the door. You have to have that action plan, which is what we've been working with you here in Males. And all of this, as you'll be seen in places like your school profile, your school improvement plan, and any kind of action plans that you have within your building. So got a quick little run through of some cheap ways for you to market your school. I hope that you understand the importance of it. Marketing is numbers. Numbers is enrollment. That's going to get you teachers. That's going to keep your school viable. Marketing, what you do well, is going to keep your school in good favor with the community and the people who are important to our public schools. I'd like to say we live in a day and age when the public schools are the best choice in the community. Sometimes they aren't, and that's why you have to make sure that you market and you make these kinds of changes that make them so. So suggestion number one, have a parent advocacy group. There's no one that speaks better for your school than other parents. And when those moms are meeting on the playground or meeting at the park, they're going to ask, where does your child go to school? Have a parent advocacy group. Train your parents in how to promote your school. Some important ideas there, but your best advocate oftentimes are the parents who are in your school or the parents who have been through your school. They're the ones who are going to talk to those future parents and convince them that what you heard is not true. This is a great place to be. Engage your local media. Big old flag here. Make sure that you contact your central office. Most times districts have a PR department. Make sure that you have established that relationship or permission from the district office anytime you engage the local media. Usually the districts try to control this to keep people out of your buildings, because sometimes the media is not there to give us good news or to report good news. But work with your district office before you to follow the protocols. But if you have that opportunity, and if your district gives you permission, shoot them great stories, invite them to your building to see what's some great things on. That newspaper, no matter how small it is, or that feed on their news site, is a great PR tool. Have shadow days where middle school kids, if you're a middle school, invite some of your feeder schools up to see the school as well. Develop your information packets. If you don't have these, you're missing a great opportunity. These could be picture rich, but these need to be some packets where people can pick up. You can take to the Chamber of Commerce, you can take to others, businesses in the community, but you need to have your word outside of the school. And one of the ways to do that is to have a beautiful information packet, some information, some testimonies from people who have been through your school, who really love your school. Make sure those get into the hands of realtors, associations, and other people who can help promote your school. Also, make sure that you don't neglect the feeder schools, because that's a great place for you as a middle school principal. You should be going to elementary schools to promote your middle school, because research will show that a lot of parents, when the kids get to the middle school, they become a little bit more antsy. So you need to be at the elementary schools promoting the middle schools, and same way for the high schools at the middle schools. Make sure your website is current, have tours, make sure that it is current. I cannot tell you what annoys me the most as a superintendent was when my websites, my school websites, had old information on it. I got more complaints from the community because the pictures were 2 weeks old or the information was a month late. Change your website. Keep an eye on that website. Keep it current. Invite the public into, let the public know what's going on in your school. Have a speakers bureau. Have some positive experiences that you want to share at Rotary clubs or other organizations. Also have students who can speak, or parents who can be a spokesperson for your school. They're going to assume, because you're principal of this school, that you love this school and you think this school is the best place in the world. But if a parent says it or if a child says it, that's even gravy. Make sure you involve your elected officials. Again, make sure you coordinate this through your district office. There's sometimes districts are a little more controlling. Have a student club that markets the school. The students will tell you what's best about the school. They'll also tell you what you need to work on. But everyone should be involved in the marketing of your school. Some of the things that hurt us the most are some of the teachers in our building. I can tell you, I have heard more horror stories of a parent who will say, well, a teacher at one of your schools told me this about the school. They'd kill us. So make sure that everyone in your building is about marketing your school. And make sure you target the people who you want to be a part of the school. Brag a lot. Make sure that and make sure it's about the things that that you're doing well. Find that what you need to do, and to make sure the public is well aware of it. Address concerns. Make sure that if you hear the things that this isn't quite right, make sure you are addressing those, particularly when it comes to the idea of bullying. That, I'll tell you, more parents will say, particularly middle schools and high schools, they worry so much about bullying. Get out front, address it. Have clubs, have organizations, have a plan to address that. I'm almost done. When they come, be ready. Don't be surprised when someone comes through the door if you put out an open invitation for them. Make sure your office people are friendly. Make sure your office people understand the importance of first impressions, and that they invite them, embrace them, and bring them in. Again, schedule tours. Leave your mark. Make sure when people leave your building, they have a couple of really strong points that you wish to make about how your school is the place for their child. And the last thing I'll mention is, again, back to your website, because I can't tell you that's the way, how much this annoys me. That is the way most people find out about your school. It's through the website and through word of mouth. So if your website is not accurate, or it's not a good selling point, then you need to really focus some time and energy on that. Keep them talking, but not guessing. Answer questions, have those forums, coffees, those kinds of things. And you may have a world of other ideas, but the reason why this is important is because when you become that administrator, one of your main jobs is to make sure that your school is viable, your school is a part of that community. And when you start down this path of becoming a principal or assistant principals, you've got to live and breathe your school and make sure that the community does as well. There's too many other options for people out there, more so now than ever before. And so we have to work hard as some of the private schools and public and charter schools and others who really, this is what they have departments for. We haven't had to do this in the past, but we do now. So market your school, become that great principal, and be extremely proud of your school. Just like we showed you this morning, earlier this session, we're marketing Gardner-Webb. Dr. Lamb did that extremely well, making sure you understand or you see what we are most proud of at Gardner-Webb. And I will stop sharing, and I believe, Dr. Revis, we're up to you in the agenda.
Good evening. I just want to reiterate one point that Dr. Stone made. I didn't know he was going to say this, but it falls right in line. This is kind of a little anecdote. Worked with a high school principal one time, and he's still currently a practicing high school principal, has a very effective high school, strong parent support, strong community support, strong alumni support. And one of the things that he does that I never thought about until I visited a faculty meeting where he was talking to the faculty about putting together a list of bragging rights, to use Dr. Stone's phrase. And Dr. Stone's right, our teachers and our staff can be our own worst enemy. And he talked a lot about creating this culture of a family amongst his staff, and that if we have issues as a staff, if we have problems within our school, let's talk about them in our school. Let's find solutions. Let's problem solve. But when we go out in the community, to the grocery store, to our church, to Home Depot, wherever, when we have somebody in the community ask you, how's it going up there at such and such school, we are ready to start talking about those bragging rights, from that bragging rights list. We're never going to air our dirty family laundry out in public. Just a little thing that I had never thought about, but boy, just making sure your staff has at the tip of their fingertips, on the tip of their tongue, some of these really good shout outs that they can always share with parents and with the community. Makes a world of difference. That's it.
Okay. Dr. Lamb, anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I'm excited to see what our scores are going to be from this group. See, you never know until the scores start rolling in. Please remember, it takes between 12 and 36 hours. I monitor that, so you'll be fine. You'll get your score back within a day. Our graders will get to those, or you'll get that. But I'm excited to see how we're doing. I think the work that I've seen so far has been very good. You've had quality instruction. This program is tried and true. We know that it works. It's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but it replicates what you will deal with once you become a school administrator. If you think you're busy now, just wait. Everybody have a good week.
Wait, let me say one more thing, Dr. Lamb. Just a reminder, you've got it. You got an email, and it's in your Blackboard shells under the announcements. Our town hall, we've changed next week a little bit. Your town hall will be on Tuesday. Dr. Lamb will send a link out because it will be all of our 601 add-on licensed students. And then next Thursday, I'm going to keep office hours for those that need to join in and just ask any questions about anything that they need to know about completing any of the APSL process. So, and other instructors will be joining me as well on that Thursday. So that link will be the same. That won't change because we've got a recurring link on that, but we will have to send out a different link on Tuesday for the town hall.
All right. Dr. Stedman, did I not send you that today?
You may have. I have not. I've been gone most of the day, so I've not seen that yet.
I think I sent that out to y'all today. If not, I'll double check that. But
Okay.
And I apologize for the change in the schedule. That's my fault. After we already had it on the schedule, we were going to Wilkes County to do a program for one of our collaborative partners, and so I will be gone that day. So on that Thursday, so we're going to have to move it to Tuesday. As you know, we do programs all across the state with our collaborative partners, and so we'll be in will be in Wilkesboro that day. So we'll do it on Tuesday.
And the week after that will be your fall break, so we will not come online that week. So we're introducing the AppTel, so this gives you almost a 2-week head start to get started on some of the things for that before we actually start back with our class.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.